Hey, what are we doing on the show this week? That's a great question. I will tell you. We will talk to our good friend Steve Krakow, who is the author of The Secret History of Chicago Music column in the Chicago Reader. And this week he's profiling this really sort of wacky band called the Dysfunctionells. So we will hear some music from the Dysfunctionells, learn the story of this local group. Occasionally in the Chicago Reader, you will see the column The Secret History of Chicago Music. It is hand-drawn by local musician, music historian, and artist Plastic Crime Wave. And we like to call him Holiday Steve Krakow. The strip profiles a local musician or a band who never quite made it to the big time. So right now, let's dim those lights. Let's fire up the old hi-fi as we travel to Chicago's Ukrainian Village neighborhood and enter The Secret History of Chicago Music.
The morning's got you by the short hairs. Rise and shine in this dirty little town. It's 5 a.m. Seen a wake-up call from your neighbor's useless dog. The sound of men hauling trash is enough.
Yes, back here once again in the lair of Steve Krakow, his apartment here in the Ukrainian Village. And Steve, this week in The Secret History of Chicago Music in the Reader, the band, it's a great name. Dysfunctionells. Dysfunctionells is the name of the band, and I don't even know, how do you classify what we're listening to?
Yeah, it is a hard one. I would say sort of like irreverent, folk rock or something like that. And there is sort of a long history of that, of sort of like folk song, but a little bit lighter and goofier in tone, going back to like the teens or something like that.
The Dysfunctionells, they don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, they're good musicians, but they take it all in stride.
Well, they describe themselves as the butt ugliest band in Chicago.
Now, where does that come from? Well, okay, I'm taking a look at your picture. No, what you drew here. I mean, they're a little self-deprecating.
Yeah, a little self-deprecating, a little bit, as you said, not taking themselves too seriously.
So how did the Dysfunctionells come to be here in Chicago?
Well, I got the whole story from Rich Kruger, who actually was the guy who got in touch with me about covering Dwayne's story, who we talked about last time. And I kind of realized he had this whole sort of long career and had played with Dwayne and stuff. So I was like, interesting. Tell me about you. And, he kind of had an interesting... So it's all from Rich's perspective here a bit. But he was playing... He was actually born in New York, moved here to go to school in the late 70s. And, he was reared on everything from, like, doo-wop and the Beatles to, like, Jacques Brel and Fado. Probably everything, he digested. And he started playing solo in the mid-'80s. And then in 91, he started the Dysfunctionells.
Right. Great name again.
Yes. And yeah, they kind of get... I mean, there are serious moments. I mean, they get comparisons to like Richard Thompson and Neil Young and stuff. There is this kind of rootsy, really well-played aspect to it that sort of transcends all the goofiness or something like that at times.
They begin playing all over Chicago. And where are they playing? Are they playing smaller clubs, bars, or are they going to get to a place like, I don't know, Metro or the Riv or something like that?
They double door at least.
Okay, all right.
Lounge acts. I guess they started at Sheffield's.
Sheffield's is still around.
God,
it's a bar. It's on the corner of Sheffield and School. I used to live across the street from it.
Oh,
back in
really?
like 03.
So wait, what's the major other street cross there? I can't think.
It'd be just north of Belmont.
Oh, it's Belmont and Sheffield.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's right by the most insane corner of all time.
Clark's and all that stuff. Yeah,
right.
That Walgreens. Okay, yes.
Big City Tap.
Yes. Okay, I should know. They played Lounge Acts, Bee Kitchen. They got around. They definitely got around. They had a residency at the Charleston, which still is sort of around. I think maybe it's changed a bit since those days. But and then then perhaps most famously, in New York, they backed up Peter Stampfel, who is probably like the king of not taking yourself seriously folk. He was in a band called the Holy Modal Rounders and also the Fugs, who were sort of jokey but also old-timey and sort of took a weird perspective on things. It's hard to describe. But
That's F-U-G-S?
F-U-G-S.
Yes, just so in case anyone heard that and it's like, whoa, they're swearing on the radio. No.
Fugs.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
The time has come to go to bed. Unburden now your heavy head. The visions that you keep as you sail off into sleep will keep you company when you're dead. Lay your head back, close your eyes. Let the tide of darkness rise. Hidden gardens of delight bloom like flowers in the night, shed their crepuscular disguise. As you wander across the river Lee.
Didn't release too much in their day, Dysfunctionells. There's like a tape, and they just put out a thing of them playing live at Lula's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not a ton out there, and they really only made it until 97? Rich moved out west to pursue a very normal career.
Okay. And so, any remnants of the band today?
Rich is still playing. He put out like 2 albums this year. I think he still plays with the drummer, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 2. That's 2 right there. He released 2 albums this year, and Peter Stamfel's on one. Gary Lucas, who used to play Captain Beefheart, is on one. Which
Wow.
is crazy. Yeah, and Jeff Buckley. And who else? Robbie Fulks, local legend. Of
course, of course.
So you can definitely catch him. He just played, I think, at Gallery Cabaret like a week or 2 ago.
Okay.
So yeah, go to Rich Kruger's website and you will see when he is still playing for sure.
All right, well, the secret history of Chicago music this week. Steve, you are profiling the Dysfunctionells. You could check it out in the hard copy or online, chicagoreader.com. And some interesting music, not taking itself too seriously. Speaking of not taking yourself too seriously, did you notice I'm like in an episode of The Sopranos, I'm wearing sweatpants today.
Wow.
And like my puffy coat.
It's,
Yeah.
What, are you hopping right into bed after this?
I'm going straight to bed. Straight to bed.
As soon as you get home? Cool.
That's right. It's all about comfort, my man.
That's right. In Chicago, that's how we roll.
Going to the sky like a biscuit. I don't see nothing holding it up. Run, going to brown, stop until it falls, and cover it with gravy in the morning. Pale moon shining on the frosted almanac, said another blizzard's on the way. Go to the still and get our fill, 'cause tomorrow's Christmas Day.
720 WGN, Mike Steven, wrapping up the 636th edition of Outside the Loop. Thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Of course, thanks to Colin for producing, and we got to say thanks to Don for doing the news for Domity, and thanks to Ben Cortez, who has been our engineer this morning.